Happy holidays and aloha from Hawaii, where tonight Bellator MMA combatants will crash into each other like waves into the beautiful beaches of where we are just living in paradise, and it is oh so nice. Night number 2 here at the Neil S. Blaisdell Center. Bellator 236 coming your way, and it is another homecoming for the amazing ambassador from the islands, the undefeated Bellator flyweight champion Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, looking to defend her title for the 4th time against Kate Jackson, looking to make history as the first British-born female fighter to capture a major crown. Also tonight, we kick off the Elite 8, the quarterfinal round of the Featherweight World Grand Prix. The undefeated AJ McKee meets the double tough Derek Campos. That's not all. It's a full night of Bellator MMA, and we are getting underway with action in the lightweight division. Let's go to the tail of the tape with Big John McCarthy.
Take a look at that record of Keone Diggs, 7-0. He's outstanding on the ground, taking on a very tough Scotty Al.
And with the official introductions, it is the international voice of Bellator MMA, Mr. Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the Blaisdell here in Honolulu as we get set to do it again. Bellator 236, the prelims start now inside the cage. 3 5-minute rounds in the lightweight division. Introducing the blue corner first at 5'11", weighing in 155.2 pounds. His professional record: 4 wins, 2 losses. Fighting out of Kailua Kona, Hawaii, presenting Scotty Hahu. And across the cage is adversary, fighting out of the red corner at 5'9", weighing in 155.9 pounds. As a professional, he stands undefeated, 7 victories, no defeats. Fighting out of Waipahu, Hawaii, introducing Keone Diggs. In charge of the action, your referee, Jason Herzog.
Couple of Bellator MMA newcomers to kick things off in the lightweight division. 3 5-minute rounds scheduled at 155. And we are underway here in Hawaii, night number 2 of Bellator MMA, after we saluted the troops last night, and immediately Keone Diggs in the red gloves, the southpaw, trying to establish his position in the center of the cage against Scotty Ahu in the blue gloves.
Both in the southpaw stance, and the one thing you're going to see Scotty Ahu trying to do is that left hand he has. It's got a lot of power. He likes to set up that left hand with his kicks, shoot it down, straight down the pipe.
Both known for their high finishing rate. Double leg takedown secured by Keone Diggs. He is 7-0 with 1 knockout and 4 submission wins, while Hahu, working from the open guard, is 4-2. All 4 of his victories have come inside the distance, including 3 submissions.
Both these guys, blue belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but you're going to see a distinct difference in the way they apply pressure on the ground.
And one of Hahu's 3 submission wins came in his last fight in August, when he submitted Zaxton Kamaka via rear naked choke in the opening round. And now using the rubber guard, now the high guard here, John. What is he looking to establish?
Really what he's trying to establish is, look at the lock on the leg with the umaplata. He's got that arm. He's got it in position. He just needs to swing his hips around to ride it through. Doesn't have it.
Now, well, momentarily trying to position for a slick submission, and instead Diggs trying to get out of harm's way, but Hahu doing a good job from the bottom.
Diggs getting exactly what he wants. He wants the half guard position. He loves this position. He likes clamping down on that leg and just opening up with his left hand or right hand.
Two minutes have elapsed here in the opening round. Diggs with the early takedown, but it's been Hahu working from the bottom. Diggs now feeding a left hand underneath the armpit to the face of Hahu, but still some maneuvering, looking for every opportunity, every small opening.
What you're seeing is, take a look at the right arm of Keone Diggs, and he has got a lace on that right arm of his opponent, and Hau, which is keeping Hau only able to defend with the one arm, trying to position himself. It's a tough position to be in.
Keone Diggs sporting the red gloves, Scotty Ahu in the blue gloves, and we have passed the midpoint of the opening round. Diggs now trying to open up with the left hand.
Finally able to free that arm. That's a considerable thing that he accomplished, because that arm being trapped is only going to give him problems.
Ahu telling us his greatest strength is his heart and his will to fight. He never gives up, always keeps pushing. He's best at using his hands while closing the distance and firing off shots in the pocket. Hasn't had an opportunity to do that here in the first frame, and now Diggs is feeding him some big left hands.
Diggs is back to that arm lace. Take a look at that right arm of Hau. That is trapped again, and he's opening up with that left hand. Hau has got to figure out a way to get his right arm free. That lacing of it is causing him nothing but problems. Again, you can see how he's got it laced. There's nowhere for it to go, and he cannot free himself from that position.
Scotty, turn towards you. Can you get your arm up? Here's that right arm. Come on, Scotty.
Under a minute left here in the opening round. Some blood on the right cheek of Diggs. Don't know its origin yet. It looks like it may be the nose of Ahu.
Au's nose is bleeding, and he's taking a lot of damage. All these shots are adding up. This has been basically 4.5 minutes of him being on the ground with a guy hitting him repeatedly with heavy left hands and sometimes right hands.
Ahu works as a carpenter and will have to try to drop a new blueprint in between rounds here, as Diggs has maintained top position, has now begun to mark up the face of Ahu, who remains active on the bottom, but hasn't been able to cinch anything of significance.
Morrow, this is what we're talking about. Diggs getting the arm lace. Look at him reach through, grabs at the wrist area. He grabs with both hands and then secures it with his right hand, securing the right arm of his opponent, and then just opens up freely with that left hand, because it's so hard as he's in that position. He cannot turn his body to get himself in a better defensive position.
Don't hesitate. Just throw it. Breathe. 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 Slow that heart rate down.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right,
just like that.
Second round, fighter, you ready? Fighter, you ready? Fight!
Referee Jason Herzog preparing the athletes to once again engage in combat. This is round number 2. Undefeated Keone Diggs in the red gloves, while Scotty Ahu, who is 4-2, both of them making their Bellator debuts. He's in the blue gloves, and immediately a return to round 1 here, John.
Exactly what you're saying. Immediately right back. Beautiful outside trip to take him down. Every fight that I saw of Keone Diggs, this is what he did, to the point of forcing his opponent into a position where he'd end up either with a submission or a TKO finish.
And Diggs already forcing Ahu to dig down deep yet again, expending a lot of energy just trying to defend a Diggs who has landed a couple of short right hands, and now Ahu against the fence, John. What's his best escape route?
Well, just what he did in getting rid of that arm lace again, getting his back up. But once you get your back to that cage, You have got to move towards getting a foot to the ground. He wasn't able to do that, and you're seeing Diggs starting to pull his hips out away from the cage, so he can't use it to get himself up.
Wide base employed by Keone Diggs, the southpaw, with 4 of his 7 victories coming via submission. And it's Ahu's been fishing for submission positions from the bottom as we come up on the first 90 seconds of this second round to tick away.
Nice step over into the half guard position, but what you saw is you saw Ahu trying to set up a Kimura grip, is unable to secure that, and again back to that arm lace and opening up with the right hand and just jackhammering shots on it.
And Diggs is ensuring that Rudolph isn't the only one with a red nose this holiday season. Scotty Ahu beginning to produce some plasma there, Big John.
And now you're seeing Ahu starting to give his back. You're seeing the hooks going in by Diggs. Diggs jumping out of the position when he got a little too high.
And Ahu saying, oh, here against Keone Diggs, who continues to dominate, now fishing for the submission. Little slick.
He started to set up.
Oh, right there, looking for that rear naked choke. Hook is in, now has that body triangle, and Keone Diggs sends Scotty Ahu to dreamland. Keone Diggs improves to 8-0 with his 5th submission victory. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to the debuting Keone Diggs.
Beautiful ground game that just continued to put pressure and force his opponent into a worse position after one after the other. Beautiful rear naked choke to get the win. Here he comes out, gets a little high, goes after a 10-finger guillotine, doesn't have it. You see him trying to get his hips into it and can't, based upon the position of the head. Just forces him over, gets the back, puts in the hook, and quickly goes towards the rear naked choke. Has it in tight, gets that squeeze. Say goodnight. Look how fast, and you can see how it's under his chin, Moro. He could try to unlock it, but that choke can still work if you've got the right squeeze with that, without the locked arm. He was going to go out. Beautiful technique by Keone Diggs.
And Keone Diggs wraps up a holiday gift with a rear naked choke submission victory. Time may not be on Diggs' side at the age of 33, but he is looking to make the most of it. An impressive victory in his Bellator MMA debut. Nice sign of sportsmanship between the two warriors. Let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage with the rear naked choke in tight, it comes to an end officially. 2 minutes, 23 seconds, round number 2. By submission, the winner still undefeated, Keone Diggs.
Keone Diggs produces the submission victory in his first foray inside the Bellator MMA cage. And the lightweight remains undefeated in his promising career as we just are getting things started here at Neil S. Blaisdell Center. Let's go to the fight desk. Here's Mike Goldberg, Josh Thompson, and Chael P. Sonnen.
Mauro, thank you very much. What a great way to start our night with a submission victory, which makes you think, Chael P. Sonnen and Josh Thompson, about our champion. She is all about the submission, Ilima-Lei Macfarlane. But Chael, you and I have talked about her opponent. Kate Jackson, the Brit, is a formidable opponent.
Oh, Ilima-Lei is going to be burning some calories tonight. Now listen, she's a favorite, but that line has tightened a little bit. Ilima-Lei came out with a statement, said, I haven't been training for this as much until recently in the last 6 weeks. I got my weight down. Kind of made you scratch your head a little bit. When you do look at Kate Jackson, you're looking at someone that likes to perform. She likes to get in a fist fight. For me, the big question is, can she stop those takedowns? I don't know the answer to that, but I do feel confident telling you, if she keeps it on her feet, she's going to have some good moments.
Ilima-Lei Macfarlane told us earlier this week, Josh, that there's a peacefulness to her this year, where last year it was just total chaos. She got the victory, but she's much more I'm going to say it. She's much more at home as she prepares for this fight.
Yeah, it's easy to be at home, but the thing is, Chael hit the nail on the head when we were talking earlier about this. Is she came into her camp a little heavier weight, and she had a little bit of issues, a couple issues throughout trying to get her weight down to the beginning of her camp. Little tiny bit of a knee injury throughout their camp. She said she's dealt with it before. Nothing new to her, but she's happy to be back at home fighting.
Big respect for Kate Jackson, and of course Kate Jackson feels the same way about our reigning champion, and all of us here feel the same way. Huge respect and love for our own Jen Brown. Jen.
Well, thank you, Goldie. Hey, you know, it's been over a year since we all were here and experienced that incredible crowd here in the Blaisdell Arena. And, you know, Kate Jackson said, I've never experienced something like that. She knows. I mean, we still get goosebumps when we talk about it. So you know how she prepared? She actually worked with a sports psychologist. She worked on visualization and making that walk to the cage, fighting in that kind of environment. She says that's going to help her prepare. Now, one would think that fighting, you know, in your opponent's hometown would be a disadvantage. Well, actually, Kate thinks the opposite. She thinks that plays to her favor because she talked about that pressure that you guys just talked about. She says that she thinks that Ilima-Lei is going to be feeling that pressure to perform, feeling that pressure to bring home the belt. She says that pressure, well, she thinks, Mauro, it's going to be too much tonight.
We will see main event flyweight title up for grabs. Right now, we turn our attention to the featherweights.
5'7" for Kai Kamaka, and Spencer Higa's got a big advantage with that reach and height. Let's see if he can use it.
Here's Michael C. Williams.
For those joining us live on the DAZN app, we welcome you to the prelims here at Bellator 236 from Honolulu as we get set now for 3 5-minute rounds in the featherweight division. Introducing the blue corner at 5'11", weighing in 145 pounds even. His professional record 7-10. He fights out of Hilo, Hawaii, presenting Spencer Masaru Higa. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'7", weighing in 145.9 pounds. As a professional, 5 wins, 2 losses, fighting out of Kapolei, Hawaii, the fighting Hawaiian Kai Kamaka. In charge, your referee, Chris West.
Chris West is your referee. Both of these fighters made their respective Bellator debuts last December. Higa lost. Kamaka, he won.
Kamaka won. He won impressively. It was a decision win, but he just dominated the fight. You can see how he put the fighter anywhere he wanted. He was the guy in control. Let's see if he can do it again tonight.
Kamaka defeating Shojin Miki via unanimous decision. Bell in round 1, and Kamaka's in the red gloves, while Spencer Higa in the blue gloves. Higa in his Bellator debut last December here at Neil S. Blaisdell Arena lost to Ryan Dela Cruz via split decision. And Kamaka coming out swinging, looking for that lead left hook that missed. Higa says that he's the more experienced fighter. He feels that that will prove to be beneficial for his fight tonight. He says he's paid his dues. He respects Kamaka and his team, but he is just more focused and ready to execute.
Beautiful right hand landed right now by Kamaka. He's got very heavy legs and heavy kicks. We're going to see if he utilizes those leg kicks to slow down the movement of Spencer Higa.
Yeah, it should come as no surprise that Kamaka countered everything that Higa said about the fight, saying no, he has the advantages, that being Kamaka in all facets. He feels that he's more durable, has the higher fight IQ, and that he thinks his skills will be just too much for Higa to handle.
One of the things that we saw when we first saw Kamaka fight was he was comfortable everywhere. He's very comfortable in the stand-up. If it goes to the ground, he's comfortable down there. So he's a well-rounded mixed martial artist.
And Kamaka also a wrestling coach, Hawaiian school. Here, both of them utilizing feints. Neither really looking to commit, although when Kamaka has been out of range.
Well, one of the things you saw is you saw Kamaka give that level change as a feint. And if there was one thing that happened, you saw that Spencer Higa started to drop his hands and then brought him right back up. Like, oh, I'm not going to get caught by that. So that's a telling move.
Oh, and there's Kamaka, secures the takedown, wrapping up the legs of Higa, pinning him against the fence. 2 minutes have elapsed here in the opening round, and Kamaka with one rear naked choke submission victory has Higa on his back.
He's got him on his back, went for the leg lace. Higa was good enough to get that leg lace out and get his one leg free, but then right away Kamaka goes to the half guard. He's in a good position right against the fence.
Both fighters Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belts, and for fans who, and at this stage, let's face it, prelims, I know they're hardcores, but for the sake of just trying to enlighten, purple belt, what kind of a gauge in terms of your talent level at BJJ are you at a purple belt, John?
If you're a purple belt, you know everything. You have been shown all these different submissions. You are someone that on top, you're heavy. You know how to place and give pressure. You have good base. It's just the transitions are not as smooth as those upper belt levels you're going to get to.
Well said, John. And what do you like here about Kamaka's top game thus far?
Well, what you're seeing is his top game. He's very heavy on top. You've seen Higa try to move, and Kamaka just keeps on moving and putting pressure down, holding the position. This is a guy right now, he's in control of the fight. Higa, by holding onto his hands, that's not going to get him off of you. And do you want this man on top of you? If you're going to be going for submissions, great. But if you're not, then you got to start get separation. Separation will get you out.
Kamaka told us that he thought that this fight would end via TKO or a mauling unanimous decision. We are seeing the mauling here in the first frame.
He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. This is what we were talking when we watched him the first time. We said, man, he's good everywhere. He transitions well. He's got good wrestling. He's got good stand-up. And look at this ground and pound right now. He is just slowly wearing his opponent out. Nice wrist control by Spencer Higa.
Kamaka bounced back from the first 2 losses of his career with back-to-back victories, including a win over Mauricio Diaz. And here for Spencer Higa, well, he is looking to move his Bellator record to 1-1. He has 45 seconds to try to reverse his fortunes here in the opening 5 minutes as Kamaka III living up to the billing, heavy on top.
Heavy on top, got back to guard, but now look at the position. Look at the hip position over the top. Big, heavy posture and blows coming down.
So Kamaka actually running a 3-fight win streak. That last victory coming a year ago here in Hawaii.
Beautiful use of the fence for balance by Higa to get himself back to his feet.
A round dominated by Kamaka III, although Spencer Higa able to get back up to his feet at the end of the round. We talked about our quarterfinal round of the Featherweight Grand Prix, and the main event coming tonight, the Flyweight Championship up for grabs. As for the rest of the lineup, John, a little bit of everything. We've got some veterans, some highly touted prospects looking to shine under the big lights for the first time, and what potentially could be a flyweight title eliminator between Juliana Velasquez and Bruna Ellen.
You're absolutely right. The winner of that fight, especially Juliana Velasquez, is saying, if I win this fight, you cannot keep me from getting my shot at that flyweight title.
And we will kick things off with the Battle of Hawaiian Punches. Nainoa Dung 3-0, Zach Zane at 13-9. 2 of the top prospects on the islands will kick things off. Bellator 236 tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific, live on DAZN. West Coast G-Funk, but we are way West Coast, John. As we get into round number 2 of this lightweight fight, and Spencer Higa coming out aggressively, landing the lead body kick to the liver of Kamaka III. So much more urgency as one would expect from Higa.
Well, he knows that he did not win that round, and he's got to get something back here. He's got to establish a presence and give Kamaka some problems to deal with. Higa's doing a good job of going upstairs and downstairs.
Level change by Kamaka, and again he secures the takedown in the same area of the cage, looking to put Higa against the fence, but Higa now on his back, but at a different angle.
Yeah, he's at a different angle. He's in a position. He's trying to keep that knee shield inside, and you're seeing Kamaka just trying to push it down. Right now, Higa's got wrist control. Kamaka's just going to bring it up. There you go. Sit down on that leg. Bingo.
Kamaka the third attended Midland University in Fremont, Nebraska, wrestled in college at the NAIA level, and has a bachelor's in human performance and sports management. Higa also going to school for physical therapy. He has played sports all his life. So again, you talk about stereotypes that were abounding in the early days of MMA. There are so many highly intelligent people, both when it comes to their fight IQ and their IQ periods, that are representing the sport.
That's one of the things about mixed martial arts that has been so impressive, is the level of the people that are engaged in it and participating in it. You can go back to people like Rich Franklin, a math teacher in school, becomes a world champion. We have had
Rosie Sexton, who was a pioneer from the UK. Of course, her compatriot Kate Jackson challenging Ilima-Lei Macfarlane in the main event tonight, looking to make history for England. But it is amazing how many people have the formal education, have paid their dues in the classroom, but still seek that competition, still seek to find out the ultimate truth about themselves inside the cage.
One of the things we talk about in fighting is it's not all physical, it's mental, and the ability to be smart inside of the cage usually will lead you towards that victory.
How can Spencer Higa show more cage IQ here in this situation, John?
Spencer Higa needs to really start working at starting to shrimp his hips out, starting to get out of this half guard position. In this position, I love what Kamaka is doing, because he's keeping his back towards on the canvas, but against that fence, so there's nowhere for him to shrimp out to. He's got to change the angle, because in this position, he's just accepting damage.
8th professional fight of Kai Kamaka's career, 5-2 overall, 1-0 here in Bellator. How can he improve his position and his overall game in this situation against Higa from topside?
Well, right now, I honestly don't think he wants to improve the position. I think he is in a position like Randy Couture, saying, I like to be in the half guard because I have control of both your upper body and your lower body. If I move myself to side control, I start to lose control of those lower limbs, and it can cause me a problem. So here I know where you're at and how I can control you. Good job of Higa to get back to guard.
Trying now, doing a good job defending, controlling Kamaka's posture. Kamaka with the wide base has Higa again pinned along the fence. Higa desperately trying to create space, trying to come up with some kind of way to force a stand-up.
Yeah, right now you're seeing that closed guard, and that's the last thing that he needs to be in. I would like to see him open up that guard. Feet on the hips, start to create space. When you're close with someone, that's control. When you create space, you can get that escape. Nice control of the right hand by Kamaka. He's got Spencer Higa's right hand trapped underneath him, and that's why he's opening up with that left hand. Got it back.
Higa, more experienced, but also 8 years older than Kai Kamaka. Higa 7-10 to begin his MMA career, losing in his Bellator debut the same night that Kamaka made his Bellator debut, that being a year ago here at this very same venue. And what a night that was. The return of Major League MMA to Hawaii in the first time in over a decade, and who will ever forget the indelible moments created in the main event? I'm getting goosebumps right now as I think about it. John, we've been a part of so many memorable moments. I think back to the entrances of Genki Sudo and Heroes, and the emotionally charged entrance of Fedor Emelianenko and Mirko Krokop in Pride, but Ilima-Lei Macfarlane's entrance last year, one for the ages.
Absolutely. You go back and you talked about Genki Sudo and Heroes, and that probably the most impressive walkout you've ever seen. There was a dance routine with it. But what the emotion of Ilima-Lei's walkout, I've never seen anything like it.
And then the atmosphere when she defeated Valerie Letourneau. We will see if we will experience deja vu tonight. Kate Jackson will try to keep that from happening as we witness the second round. Take us through the opening 10 minutes on your unofficial scorecard, John. You gave Kamaka round number 1. Do I need to be a psychic to ask who won round number 2?
No, you don't need to be a psychic. I think you have a full grasp of who won round number 2. And it's the same man that won round number 1. Kamaka's the guy to control that. 10-9 round didn't do enough for 10-8, but he is 2 rounds up, in my opinion.
Okay, Yogi. Go for broke. You're down 2 rounds. You don't do anything, he's just going to hold you down in. Go for broke. Let it go.
Truth being spoken in Spencer Higa's round or corner.
And it's always nice to see a corner that is not going to sit there and say, well, you know, you might have won that round. Don't do that.
Yeah, Ken Lee is his trainer.
You're going to do the same thing. Right?
Representing United MMA, Kai Kamaka, meanwhile, representing Team Line of Judah, Ray Cooper Jr., Ronald June, and Jordan Gomez. All his coaches.
Machine gun.
Yeah. Well, Spencer Higa needs to deliver strikes like a machine gun here in round 3 if he wants to get back into this fight, and immediately tries to land that jumping knee, trying to take a page of Masvidal's playbook against Van Askren, and it didn't, needless to say, didn't get the same result, John.
It kind of held it up mid-flight, so if you don't throw it, it's not going to land.
Commitment. At times it can be a scary word, not when it comes to cage fighting.
Beautiful.
Commitment there from Kamaka on that right kick.
Exactly, that right roundhouse kick came upstairs, and although there was a block.
Oh, another level change, well defended by Higa. And Higa attempts to land the lead leg kick, and then there was a right cross that he sent Kamaka's way. So real first sustained seconds of striking.
Couple of big shots with the right hand by both guys. You're seeing Kamaka looking for that takedown. He looked at attempting on one. There you go.
Kamaka, single leg ankle pick takedown. I was going to mention that out of Higa's 7 victories, 4 have come via form of knockout, 2 via submission. For Kamaka, he has the lone submission victory, and Kamaka seems very content with, oh, nice pass into side control, as Higa was trying to make life difficult for Kamaka with those elbows from the bottom.
He was trying to, and that's why you saw Kamaka immediately, I'm not going to stay here and take these. I'm going to move myself to a position you can't even attempt that same strike.
And it's interesting, you brought up the half-guard philosophy espoused by Randy Couture, good friend of ours and my former broadcast partner, Boss Rune, espousing how he preferred side control to full mount because of the options available.
Absolutely. You know, everybody's going to have where they're comfortable. And you can tell in this fight that Kai Kamaka, he likes the half-guard position. He went to that foot, he went to that side control, landed a couple things, but he likes being in that position where he can control that leg with his legs and open up.
And, well, speaking of opening up, Higa trying to open up a cut on Kai Kamaka with those elbows from the bottom, and has to be careful not to hit the back of Kamaka's head.
See, look at that open guard. Look where the feet are, like I was talking about earlier. Put the feet on the hips, create more of a problem for your opponent.
And the problem for Kamaka, if there is any right now, as we head to the second half of the final round, it's one thing to secure the takedown, dominate from tough position. What could he be doing better, John?
Well, what he wants to do, if you're going to be in that guard position, I want to see your head coming up over the top towards your opponent's head. I do not want your head in his sternum or below. I want you to keep on putting pressure, posture, all those things, because all of a sudden the elbow strikes are gone. You can't, the person can't even land them. Proper positioning will keep you safe. If you end up putting yourself in a position where you are now down low, your opponent can strike you.
And Higa has the loose half guard on Kamaka. Kamaka just putting all of his weight on the top part of Higa's torso. Higa trying to shrimp hips, trying to come up with a way to...
He has the ability to go for an arm triangle. You just let it go.
And we are coming up on the final 90 seconds of this lightweight, or make that featherweight matchup in our preliminary portion of Bellator 236 here at Neil S. Blaisdell Arena in Honolulu, Hawaii. Both of these athletes are representing the paradise of the Pacific, and there's a full mount employed by Kai Kamaka III as he continues to do his handiwork here in round 3.
Spencer Higa needs to start to bump his hips, start to get good position.
And Kamaka looking for that choke. Under a minute remaining, Kamaka looking to end the fight in style.
This is all about body position and the squeeze.
And good forced to release.
Good job by Spencer Higa to get himself back into that half guard.
So Higa with a moral victory in terms of thwarting the submission attempt, but now back up to his feet, and that left knee catching the jaw of Higa. Higa forward now, and Higa with the jump knee. So some fistic fireworks here in the final 30 seconds as Higa looking for the Hail Mary.
Higa threw that knee, but he took a big right hand.
And Kamaka being forced into a impromptu firefight here with Higa, backing up. Oh, spinning back fist misses for Higa, and you know Kamaka wants to bring it back to terra firma.
He at least wants to keep close. If he stays close, he's going to be safe. If there's distance, he can end up getting hit back.
And there's the point in the exclamation for Kai Kamaka III with another takedown as the bell goes to end this featherweight fight. And 24-year-old Kai Kamaka III appearing to record his second straight victory in the Bellator MMA cage. How do you have it on your unofficial scorecard, John, and why?
I've got Kai Kamaka 30-27, no doubt about it. He's the guy that controlled his grappling, was the superior element in this fight. He gets the win.
Well, on your unofficial scorecard, he gets the win. We have seen some crazy things happen when it comes to adjudicating MMA. Let's revisit some of Kai Kamaka III's offense.
And look, what we're looking for here, right, is posture. Look at the posture, which allows him to bring power, brings the knee up, just missed with it. Look at the right hand land as Higa thinks about doing the jump knee.
I wonder if Higa would have been able to defend the takedown and get a little more comfortable in the stand-up. It appears, from the limited time we've seen, that he did have maybe a little more fluidity than Kamaka did in those exchanges.
Well, you could look, the one place I'm going to give Higa that had the advantage, every time he clinched into his Muay Thai plum, he was able to deliver knees, although some of them landed, some of them didn't. He created problems that you could see that Kamaka didn't like dealing with.
Yeah, and it was clear that Kamaka wanted to take it to the ground, where he was able to do so on myriad occasions. Let's get the official decision from Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we'll go to your three judges at cage side. All three judges, Mike Onzuka, Kyle Takao, and Chris Lee. All see it the same, 30-27. I'll have it for the winner by unanimous decision, the Fighting Hawaiian, Kai Kamaka.
Kai Kamaka conquers Spencer Higa. He improves to 2-0 in the Bellator cage, and he is now 6-2 as a professional mixed martial artist. Let's get it back to the fight desk.
Mauro, thank you very much. And this is what we have been looking at all week long. Well, Chael, at least that's the view out of my hotel room. I'm sure you got upgraded as well, my friend. and we are down to the Great 8. And the quarterfinals will begin tonight, our co-main event of the evening. AJ McKee, Derek Campos. Of course, those on the other side of the bracket include Emmanuel Sanchez, Daniel Weichel, the champion Patricio Pitbull, Pedro Cavallo, Adam Boric, and Darian Caldwell will fight in Los Angeles, and the winner of that fight will get the winner of our co-main event. Josh, AJ McKee, obviously his skills are undeniable. His maturity is well beyond his years.
Yeah, and I attribute a lot of that to his dad. His dad was a professional fighter, fought in all the biggest organizations. Outstanding fighter his dad was, and it just made it easier for the son to follow suit. And his dad just fought on the last card with him the last time he fought, and that just lets you know his dad's paving the way for him, showing him and leading by example. I gotta tell you, his dad's done a great job with him, as well as guys like Joey Davis, you know. And there's other guys coming out of that gym. I cannot wait to see this guy fight. He is the future of the sport, and I'm gonna tell you guys later when we get to the live show on how much he is the future of the sport.
And Derek Campos, well, he picked AJ McKee. You're a veteran. You've had secrets before. What does Derek Campos know that maybe the rest of the world doesn't?
Hey, be careful what you ask for, right? And it's one of those things. But look, let me tell you one thing about Campos is he is gritty. And before you think, oh, Chael, what does gritty mean? Well, let me tell you. Look, it means if you get hit in the face, you keep coming forward. It means if you get knocked down, you get up. Goldberg, it could be the second or third round. He's lost the first two. Campos doesn't care. He's coming after you every second you're in there. And when you are a new young guy and you got a lot of light still in your face, and McKee, in all fairness, does, that could be a real threat.
Sonnen, that is an excellent point. Thompson, see what I did there? Ronaldo and McCarthy, back to you guys.
Yes, I do. Goldberg, as we get set here for the lightweight matchup between Dustin Barca and Brandon Pieper. Here's the tail of the tape.
Take a look at the advantage that Dustin Barca has in the reach. He's an outstanding grappler, but with that reach, he could do some damage on the feet.
Here's, well, I could say Williams, but it's Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bellator Hawaii from the Blaisdell here in Honolulu now goes to 3 5-minute rounds in the lightweight division. Introducing the blue corner at 5'7", weighing in 156 pounds even. His professional record 11-13. He fights out of Waianae, Hawaii, presenting Brandon Pieper. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'10", weighing in 153.3 pounds, undefeated as a professional. He comes in 3 victories, no defeats, fighting out of Kilauea, Kauai, presenting Dustin Barca. In charge, your referee, Frank Trigg.
Twinkle Toes, Frank Trigg, our referee, and there's a theme here. Both of these fighters made their Bellator debuts last December in Hawaii. Pieper lost, Barca won.
Barca won against Isaac Hobbs, put on a very gritty performance. That was back and forth. He got the win. Oh, definite hard fight.
The bell in round number 1, Brandon Pieper in the blue gloves, Dustin Barca in the red gloves. The 37-year-old Barca, a former professional surfer, in fact, the top 40 in the world, who transitioned into professional MMA. And Brandon Pieper bringing the heat early, trying to take down Barca here now. Barca pinning Pieper along the cage, and Pieper was submitted in his Bellator debut last December here in Hawaii via rear naked choke at the hands of Chris Avila, and now it's Barca already fishing for a potential rear naked choke.
Barca's in position. He's got a good chance right here. He just snuck around the back. You see it. Pieper's trying to get that hand off, get the lock up, but this, even with that single arm, he is getting choked right now.
Barca 3-0. He's got 1 knockout victory, looking for his first submission victory.
It's gonna be over, Moro.
And it's RNC time, and there's the tap. And Pieper falls to 0-2, both losses in the Bellator cage via rear naked choke. And the activist, the former pro surfer, Dustin Barca, barking loudly here tonight with a scintillating performance.
I talked to you about, as we were saying, that reach was good, but he's got an outstanding ground game. Dustin Barca is a black belt. He is very good on the ground, and you can see when he starts to step around the leg, brings that arm across the neck, and then just sits back. Look at the hook up on the leg so he can't get a balance point. Now that he's got that neck, he just starts working for that choke. Even though you saw Pieper being able to grab at the one arm, that right arm on his neck is squeezing tight. It's creating pressure, and as soon as he loses the grip, it's over.
The Pieper gets paid with the submission skills of the BJJ black belt Dustin Barca. He's now 4-0, including 2 victories under the Bellator MMA banner. None sweeter than this one. Barca made his Bellator MMA debut last December, as we saw, defeating Isaac Hobbs via unanimous decision. This one did not require the judges. Let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, the tap comes by way of a rear naked choke, officially 58 seconds. Round number 1 by submission. Still undefeated, Dustin Barca.
And the early birds here at Neil S. Blaisdell Arena showing their appreciation for one of their own, Dustin Barca. And speaking of one of their own, the much-anticipated main event of Bellator 236 coming your way later tonight, live here on The Zone. Alima Lay McFarland, a perfect 10-0 the only flyweight champion in Bellator MMA history, defends the title for the 4th time against Kate Jackson. This opportunity 10 years in the making, as Jackson looks to become the first British-born female mixed martial artist to win a major title. But that's not all. The co-feature, we kick off the Elite 8 in the quarterfinals of the Featherweight World Grand Prix. The undefeated A.J. McKee looks to keep his hype train rolling against Derek Campos, who took out a former 2-time champion in Daniel Strauss in the opening round. With more on tonight's event, let's get back up to Goldie, Sonnen, and Thompson.
I like how you did that, Morrow. Thank you very much with JLP and Josh Thompson. Let's talk Juliana Velasquez, because this fight that we will see later tonight against Bruna Ellen is a top contender matchup. Velasquez is 9-0, Chael. She has told us all. It is only a matter of time.
Yeah, I could brag to you about her skills. I mean, look, this girl can punch and kick and grapple, and she's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu. It'd be easier to just tell you her record, Josh. She's a perfect 9-0, but there is something to the mental side. She's seen all week, guys, like the cat that ate the canary. Like, she knows something that the rest of us don't. Big sister, if you will, to the younger opponent. A maturity and someone who's on the verge of a title shot.
So how does Bruna Ellen, Josh, not get big sister?
She's got to stay inside the pocket in the boxing range, because Juliana's got those long arms. She likes to punch and keep people on the end of her punches. So Bruna's got to get on the inside, use the boxing, get into the clinch, make it a dirty, grimy fight. If she can do that, if she's not going to be all the way in the pocket, she's got to be all the way on the outside so she's not getting hit.
Juliana Velasquez's performance against Christina Williams in her last fight, as good as any we have seen in her mixed martial arts career. For more, let's check in with Jen Brown. Jen.
Well, thanks, Goldie. Hey, you guys talked about that 9-0 record for Velasquez. She's coming in feeling a little bit slighted. She said that she was surprised she didn't get the call to fight Ilima-Lei Macfarlane tonight for the world title belt. So because of that, she's coming out tonight to make a statement. She says we should expect an exciting fight and a spectacular finish. And more, when we asked her how she sees it ending, well, she's calling for a knockout. She says she wants to leave no doubt in anyone's mind that she should be next in line to fight for the title.
Potential for a knockout, submission, or a hard-fought decision. That's coming up later tonight. But right here, right now, we've got action in the welterweight division.
Looking at 5'9" to 6'2". Kanekoa, very tall for our division here.
With the official introductions, here is Michael C. Williams.
Tonight here in Honolulu, we go now to the welterweight division, set for 3 5-minute rounds. Introducing first, the blue corner, at 6'2", weighing in 168.2 pounds. His professional record 2-2. He fights out of Los Angeles, California, by way of Pohoa, Hawaii, presenting Keali'i, the Saint Kanekoa. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'9", weighing in 168.4 pounds. His professional record, undefeated, 3 victories, no defeats. Fighting out of Kaneohe, Hawaii, introducing Wilhelm. The referee in charge, Mike Beltran.
Ox Baker's doppelganger, the veteran referee Mike Beltran, will oversee this fight contested in the 170-pound weight class as part of the Bellator 236 prelims.
You ready to fight? You ready to fight? Paddle, let's go.
Bell and round number 1, Keali'i Kanekoa in the blue gloves, Ben Wilhelm in the red gloves, and already Wilhelm all over Kanekoa with a knee up the middle, but it's Keali'i Kanekoa. Look at this battle with the Wizard, the takedown.
These guys are going at it like 2 ferrets, just going crazy. Wilhelm loves to fight on the ground, and it was not surprising that he tried to take this fight to the ground right away.
And Wilhelm with some ground and pound early, trying to improve his position. Beautiful reversal there by Kanekoa. Now the steady diet of punches by Wilhelm. Man, you're right, it's just incredible start here to this fight. A frenetic pace early. I guess 2 guys need to get their Christmas shopping still done. Wow! What a knee and what ability to absorb the shot by Wilhelm.
Both guys.
Oh, blood already.
Both guys have absorbed big knees from each other. Wilhelm was definitely stunned on that last one by Kanekoa.
Both of them 30-year-olds. In fact, Kanekoa turns 30 on New Year's, so not yet 30. Will turn 30 on New Year's Eve. And wow, he might be receiving 30 knees before this one is over from Ben Wilhelm.
That and a partridge in a pear tree.
Judo black belt Wilhelm, he feels that his greatest strength is being down to just scrap and bang. You don't say.
Both guys are just winging it in the dirty fighting, this dirty boxing range that both these guys are in. Wilhelm needs to take this fight into his wheelhouse. That is going to be taking it to the ground. But Kanekoa is staying tough and just being a guy that he cannot keep on the ground.
Well, as long as Wilhelm knows that Kanekoa said he's going to win by a spinning back elbow, but it's Wilhelm looking for that submission.
He is in trouble.
Rear naked choke, Wilhelm, who is 3-0, all 3 victories via submission. Is he going to make it 4 straight?
Look at the arch on the back. That's what you're going to look for to make sure. Is his hip position in? That's getting tight now that he's going palm to palm with it. He's in trouble.
Kanekoa desperately trying to break the grip, but it's in deep here by Ben Wilhelm. There's the tap! Wilhelm with 4 professional MMA fights, 4 consecutive submissions, 3rd via rear naked choke. And Ben Wilhelm with a sterling Bellator MMA debut. He brought the heat to Kealihi Kanekoa.
Take a look at what goes on here. Watch the knees. Bip right on the chin, and you can see it just about frozen. He's still not sure. He's holding on, and then when he jumped to the back, that was a big chance he took, but it worked for him. Goes for the roll through. He's got the neck. It's just a matter of getting the hip position in, getting the arms right. He finally gets it on tight, gets that squeeze. Nothing for Kanekoa to do. It's either tap or nap.
Ben Wilhelm remains undefeated. He may have just defeated that camera as well.
He just illegally headbutted our camera.
Somewhere Mark Coleman is smiling ear to ear. Nothing like a good headbutt. Let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, it comes to an end. The tap by way of a rear naked choke officially. 2 minutes, 24 seconds. Round number 1 by submission. Ben Wilhelm.
Ben Wilhelm told us his biggest advantage over his opponents is his gameness. Well, he'll tonight in his Bellator MMA debut, proven to have more game than an esports franchise. Ben Wilhelm 4-0, all 4 victories via tap-outs. And we are definitely far from tapping out on the evening. We are really just getting started and coming your way at Bellator 236, the main card, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific, live on DAZN. It is the much-anticipated flyweight championship match. Alima Leigh McFarland, the favorite daughter of the Hawaiian Islands, returns still undefeated, looking to successfully defend her flyweight title for the 4th straight time against Kate Jackson, who looks to make history representing the United Kingdom, wanting to be the first female-born fighter to take the crown back home to the UK. And also tonight, we begin the quarterfinals of the Featherweight World Grand Prix. A.J. McKee, well, you might as well call him Butter because he's been on a roll, 15-0, but looking to stop his momentum. Derek Campos, he stopped his 3-fight losing streak in his first fight in the tournament, knocking out 2-time champion Daniel Strauss. Campos picked McKee. And as for the rest of the card, Big John McCarthy, many intriguing storylines, many intriguing matchups.
Wow, we have some incredible matchups. Jason Jackson against Keich Kuramoto. It's going to be a great fight. Juliana Velasquez trying to prove that she deserves that next shot at the flyweight title. Rafael Stotts, an incredible Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling background, but he is facing a man in Lealoha that is dynamic everywhere. And then we've got the Hawaiian battle, Nainona Dung against Zach Zane. Zach Zane, #1 in the lightweights in Hawaiian. And Dung wants that title.
We can't wait for the main card, and we continue to roll right along with the prelims. It's time for a battle in the bantamweight division between Swain Lunasco and Kalen Gorospe.
You know that the heart rates are up tonight because take a look, Moro. Both of our guys, this is their pro debut.
Well, it's definitely not his pro debut. He is one of the best pros there is, Michael C. Williams.
For those joining us live tonight on Bellator's official YouTube channel, we welcome you as well to Honolulu for the Bellator 236 prelims, where we go now to 3 5-minute rounds in the bantamweight division. Introducing the blue corner at 5'7", weighing in 135.9 pounds tonight. Making his professional debut, he fights out of Wailua, Kauai, presenting Kalen Gorospe. Across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'7", weighing in 142.8 pounds. He too tonight makes his professional debut, fighting out of Mililani, Hawaii, introducing Swain Lionheart Lunasco. In charge, your referee, Chris West.
Referee Chris West will oversee this bantamweight contest scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. A couple of Hawaiian Islanders getting set to square off at 135 pounds. The bell at round 1. Lionheart Swain Lunasco in the red gloves. Kalen Gorospe in the blue gloves. Both of them making their professional debuts. And John, you get one chance to make a first impression in this proving ground known as the Bellator MMA cage.
Well, it's so funny when you come into a fight like this, you have so many things to think about. This is my pro debut, and you've done it. You've done it in the gym. But when you come in under the lights, the pressure adds up, and things just change.
And while it is their respective pro debuts, they are not strangers to one another. It's in fact a rematch. They fought as amateurs in August of last year, with Lunasco winning via second round rear naked choke. So Gorospe looking for a little revenge here in the Bellator cage, and feeling out process, attacking the lead leg with that inside low kick as Lunasco trying to cut off the cage.
I can tell you, I watched that fight, Moro. I saw I was there, and of course Gorospe was in control of that fight, made a mistake, and Lunasco gets him. But this is a very evenly matched fight.
I'm pretty sure you've seen every one of Travis Fulton's fight as well. What is he now? 350, 400?
Oh no, he's over 400 fights.
Is he past Hickson Gracie and his 5? Has a takedown secured here by Swain Lunasco, showing off that Lionheart into side control on Gorospe. By the way, great piece on Travis Fulton in The Athletic.
Yeah, there was. He deserves it too.
Say that again, and now it's Lunasco has the back of Gorospe, has one hook in.
He's going to lose that position. He's falling off. Gorospe should be thinking about using that cage to scrape him off.
Well, it's interesting as Lunasco was looking for the rear naked choke, the move that Gorospe lost to in their amateur matchup. But they are back on their feet. And Lunasco heavy on the front foot. As Gorospe attacking the lead leg. And here the corner, imploring Lunasco to cut him off. And there's a naked shot.
You know, that's something you just don't see a lot of, that open double leg attempt from far. Something that we normally say that's just not working in MMA very often anymore.
Lunasco just said, hold my gloves. But Gorospe here in a position with the wizard, John, but
he's got that wizard and he's got that knee shield, and what he's looking to do is utilize that wizard to get his knee to the ground and start to wizard down on that arm of Lunasco.
And instead, it's Lunasco trying to rain down those right hands, clips the nose of Gorospe. Lunasco missed the bantamweight limit in this fight, by the way, is giving 20% of his purse to Kalen Gorospe. I don't know if it's going to come in the form of a Christmas card, because that's an early Christmas gift that Kalen Gorospe was not anticipating. But here, Lunasco looking for the guillotine.
Yeah, for that guillotine, get a neck crack here also.
And under a minute and a half remaining in the first round. Crossface by Lunasco, creating posture, but now it's Gorospe trying to hang on. Gorospe trying to explode his hips, buck his hips, but Lunasco doing a good job from the full mount.
Yeah, good job. Great biting the legs, putting a lot of pressure with his hips down, making himself very heavy. Now going for the arm triangle. Great job of slipping over.
Under a minute.
Get that knee down, frame out, drive forward. He's got that choke.
Catch wrestling aficionados would refer to it as a side choke, but yes, the arm triangle being put on here by Lionheart Wayne Lunasco.
What he needs to do is just keep that angle. Don't allow it to be straight. Keep driving towards his opponent. Drive with your legs and your shoulder into his neck, creating enough of a squeeze that it can put him unconscious.
Under half a minute remaining. Is the clock going to become Kalen Gorospe's best friend? 20 seconds left. Lunasco putting the squeeze on him, expending energy, trying to get the finish before the bell.
He lost that squeeze and he was trying to go to a different
Good
position.
escape, beautifully done by Gorospe, giving up his back, but only 5 seconds left in the round. Dominant round for Lunasco, but he did not get the submission after the first 5 minutes. You giving it to Lunasco?
Well, no doubt Lunasco wins that round.
And why is that, sir?
Easily. Who was the guy that came close to having a submission that almost ended the fight? What was the major element that almost ended the fight in that round? It was that head and arm triangle choke.
Great hands. The angle's great. Moving your footwork pretty good. To get stuck on the bottom though. So use your bottom.
Here, Gorospe's corner saying, don't get stuck on the bottom. Easier said than done, coach.
Take a look. Gets the position. Goes for that choke. Decides to let go of it. He feels that he doesn't have it right. Goes to the mount, then gets that arm triangle position. I actually thought for when he got it flat here, he was going to be able to get that thing and sink it in. Gorospe did an outstanding job of remaining calm and allowing things to just settle down for him, always getting that little space so he could get a little bit of blood flow. Great action by both fighters.
I know that coaches are dealing in the heat of the moment, having to make adjustments on the fly, but, and we've said this ad nauseum as well as we get set for round number 2, and not taking anything away from the coaching of Kalen Gorospe, nothing but respect for Ralph Fukumoto, but you need to give specific instructions, John, correctly, and not just say, well, you got to stay off your back. Well, how do I stay off my back, coach?
Yeah, it's so important to give proper instruction of what's going on and give the fighter the ability.
Nice knee.
That was a huge knee.
Gorospe coming back here in round 2, rattling Lunasco with the knee, creating separation. And the unpredictable world of mixed martial arts after being dominated by Lunasco in the first 5 minutes. It's Gorospe who's really landed the most significant blow of the fight.
Right there with that knee, that was a huge knee, but I will say Lunasco took it well.
Yes, he did. He's back on his feet again, controlling the center. Goes in with the right hand and begins to irritate Gorospe with that jab. And there's again he shoots from distance and yet able to secure the takedown. Why is that?
It is because you have Gorospe who is worried about the stand-up, and he is feigning that shot with his hands and changing levels and diving down into his leg and getting to his legs based upon him worrying about that stand-up.
How ironic is it that in the stand-up, Gorospe landed the knee that rattles Lunasco, but finds himself here in this predicament again, defending the submission attempt, countering again, hits Lunasco again, Lunasco on his back, hammer fist from Gorospe. And Lunasco again weathering the storm, remaining patient, remaining calm. Both of them cool under fire here in their professional debuts.
A little bit surprised Gorospe keeps on backing off of that position when he has the ability to be the fighter in the top position.
Yet another takedown hoovered by Lunasco. Not everyone gets the opportunity to make their professional debut live on DAZN for a major MMA organization like Bellator, and both Lunasco and Gorospe looking to seize the opportunity here tonight.
And you can see Gorospe goes right back to that knee shield inside. He liked that wizard over the top. Now he's let go of it. He's got the positions where he feels he's comfortable to get a sweep and be able to get on top. He just hasn't shown that he's been able to make it successful.
Well, Lunasco told us that his greatest strength is his wrestling background. We have bore witness to that with his takedowns. For Gorospe, he feels his greatest strength as a fighter is his striking ability, and we did see evidence of that to kick off round number 2. But now at the midpoint of the round in the fight, Lunasco again from side control.
Lunasco inside control here, just landed a big elbow. Those little short elbows hurt. You see Gorospe trying to move his hips to get himself back into a half guard. Lunasco just moved right to mount.
And right to mount again by Lunasco. Improving his position and attempting perhaps to fish for another arm triangle, moving to the position. Under 2 minutes remaining in the round.
Notice the knee position up on, and he's holding that leg with his foot, trying to create the angle. He still does not have that arm triangle secured correctly.
The 22-year-old Lunasco, motivated by being a role model, by being someone the younger generation can look up to. We all know everyone looks up to a winner, but not necessarily when it comes to wins and losses. Winner can come in different forms. How you handle adversity, how you handle pressure. And Lunasco and Gorospe here with less than 90 seconds remaining in the second round. And Gorospe, well, he's enduring a lot of pressure from Lunasco.
Well, 90 seconds, that was a big elbow he just ate. 90 seconds of being mounted is not a good place to be.
Ground and pound by Lunasco. And Lunasco grinding away. Short strikes to Kalen Gorospe, doing his best to try to neutralize the attack. Shelling up now, trying to buck his hips, expending all kinds of energy. Less than a minute remaining. And just as was the case in the opening round, will the clock again become Gorospe's biggest ally?
It could be his biggest ally, but right now he is absorbing a lot of damage from Lunasco. Lunasco's landing big elbows, punches. He is dominating this position and the fight.
30 seconds remaining in the round. Can Gorospe stave off this attack? Bloody nose. Lunasco looking to pick his shots. An elbow splitting the guard of Gorospe and potentially splitting the face.
Look at how high Lunasco is up on him. There is no action of his hips to do anything now. He is in deep trouble with the ground and pound attack.
Final 10 seconds. Lunasco, is he punching himself out though? It looks like Gorospe's gonna see round 3. 10-8 round?
Absolutely.
Come on, breathe. How you feeling, buddy? Huh? Can you hear what I'm saying? Are you okay? What's your name? What's your name, bro?
He's tired. He's tired too.
He's tired. He's taking deep breaths and he's tired.
Look at just the action of Lunasco. His ground game is absolutely superior to Gorospe, and he has shown that by getting the mount position we see here, being able to maintain it, getting high up on the chest, just opening up here. You're taking a look and you're saying, is that intelligent defense by Gorospe? I would tell you, no, it's not. When a fighter is no longer intelligently defending himself and can only put his hands up, maybe it's time to get him out of the fight.
We await the third and final round as Kalen Gorospe takes a deep breath. And while we can commend Lunasco on his efforts in this fight as they touch gloves and embrace, let's not forget that Lunasco missed the bantamweight limit, and he didn't miss it by a little. He weighed in at 142.8 pounds.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage Nice.
And there's a sprawl by Gorospe, but the tenacious Lunasco looking to get dominant position once again. But again, I didn't want to overlook that fact. He is much bigger than Gorospe.
And it's one of those things when you're that fighter, Gorospe, it's, do I take the fight or do I say, no, I'm not going to fight him because he's that much heavier?
Hey, Quinton Rampage Jackson returns to action against Fedor Emelianenko in Japan next week. Quinton once said the cheddar always makes it better. That extra 20% is going to come in handy this holiday season. John, as Lunasco gets another takedown.
Well, the cheddar is always better if you're fighting Quinton Rampage and he misses weight.
Well, they will be going at it, and wow, so many memories, of course, for both legendary fighters in the land of the rising sun, going back to the halcyon days of Pride Fighting Championships, and pride on the line here between these two Bellator newcomers representing Hawaii. It is Swain Lunasco in top position in the red gloves, Kalen Gorospe in the blue gloves.
Yeah, but what you're seeing, Mauro, is when you're looking at the end of that second round and all of the shots that Gorospe ended up accepting from Lunasco, those add up, and they add up in making it to where now he's a diminished fighter, and you're seeing that Lunasco is able to just take him down, get position, and things are just not going to get any better from Gorospe from this point on.
Short elbow strike by Lunasco. And yet to Gorospe trying to control Lunasco's posture. The game of inches here, John. Referee Chris West imploring the fighters to work, and now again Lunasco goes to full mount.
This is what I was talking about. Things are just not going to get better because when you've accepted that kind of damage and you're tired, you're trying to move and you're just slow in your reactions, and that slowness ends up leading to your downfall.
And Lunasco content in just trying to carve up Kalen Gorospe's face like the Christmas turkey. And he's missed so far, but has the opportunity again here from full mount. Short left hand to the side of Gorospe's head, and it's all Swain Lunasco again going fishing for that arm triangle.
He's going for that choke again. Doesn't quite have it. Now going back to the mount position.
What do you commend Gorospe for? He's being dominated, but again, he's unable to reverse fortunes, and yet Lunasco unable to put him away.
Well, he has been absolutely durable in the fight and defiant in not giving in, mentally not giving in, never quitting, never stopping, having a choke that's tight, having ground and pound that's been eating him up. But he has been there working and trying. You got to give the kid credit. He is tough as nails. There you go.
Well, it's over. Referee Chris West has seen enough, and Swain Lunasco winning his pro debut here in round 3 via ground and pound. So he will win his first fight, and will do so via form of knockout for Kalen Gorospe. Not the evening he envisioned. Finally forced out of the fight in the final round. And Lunasco moves to 2-0 over Gorospe, once as an amateur, once in their pro debuts.
You can see from the mount position, Lunasco just starts opening up with shots and hit him with a lot of elbows, pressing down on the head, hitting elbows, making it to the point where Gorospe started turning his head away. Absolutely the right thing to stop that fight at that point.
Oh, my name watching, I love you. My auntie's watching, nobody watch me get beat up. Love you guys. Oh, my sponsor.
Michael C. Williams has the official announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, referee Chris West steps in, waves off the contest due to unanswered strikes. Officially 3 minutes 29 seconds. Round number 3, the winner by TKO, Swain Lionheart Lunasco.
Swain Lunasco may have come in overweight, but he goes over Kalen Gorospe via third-round TKO to win his first fight as a professional. Well, coming up later tonight, Bellator 236, Ilima-Lei Macfarlane has won the first 10 fights of her professional career and becoming the only flyweight champion in promotional history. An emotional homecoming last year in a title defense over Valerie Letourneau. Tonight, she defends the belt against Kate Jackson. 10 years she has waited for an opportunity like this. Jackson looking to make the most of it. Potentially the toughest test of Ilima-Lei Macfarlane's burgeoning career. The quarterfinals get underway in the Featherweight World Grand Prix. No hotter fighter at 145 right now other than perhaps the champion. It's A.J. McKee. He will face Derek Campos. Campos calling out McKee in the selection show. Campos looking to hand McKee his first professional loss. And here in the paradise of the Pacific, we are just getting started. Bellator 236 going to be hotter than chestnuts roasting on an open fire. We are surfing our way to Bellator 236.
Array of digital platforms and stay up to date on everything you need to know. Like us on the Bellator Facebook page and see exclusive videos. Follow us and get instant updates on Twitter at Bellator MMA and get a chance to have your tweet live on Paramount Network. See amazing pictures on Instagram at Bellator MMA. Follow us on Snapchat at Bellator Nation for exclusive behind-the-scenes photos, videos, and fighter takeovers. Join Bellator Nation today.
Ilima-Lei Macfarlane returns to Hawaii. The Pineapple Princess, the undefeated and inaugural flyweight champion. A.J. McKee, faster than a TikTok video. The mercenary claims another victim. He has literally punched his ticket to the Great Eight.
Presenting Kate Jackson.